So in this example, basically we are trying to generate an enterprise architect sequence diagram. That is a sequence diagram using the enterprise architect. Okay, so you can generate the or you can create a sequence diagram by manual process. That is fine. Other than that, once you understand the steps, there is another way that which you can use in in enterprise architect to create the sequence diagram. Okay, so say I will tell you this is the this is the use case diagram for the check document. Okay, so you have this checkout page, checkout controller, manager, all these are the various objects. Okay, so when you click on this checkout document, you can see the scenarios here. Okay, so when you look at the scenarios here, we have basically generated various objects. Okay, there is a boundary and there is an object. So home page is the boundary and document is an entity, and these are all the various classes. Okay, you could see all this. So what we have done is that, say here, when you click on this, you can actually generate a new scenario. So the scenarios are nothing but the set of statements which will help you to understand how this whole of this scenario works. So here in the use case diagram we have just one checkout document, and in the checkout document when you go to the scenarios you can add scenarios. So we are adding the scenarios like customer clicks on the check document from on the home page. Okay, so home page, it has to be clicked on the home page, then home page checks displays a checkout page, customer enters. So it's like, everything which you have to do here is basically given as the following scenario. You're getting my point? You are adding it as the following scenario. So once you add this as scenario, okay, so you are adding everything as a scenario here. Okay, then you are actually you are generating the sequence diagram. Okay, so how can you generate the sequence diagram is the question. Okay, so if you have a use case model with the following scenarios, there is a button here. Okay, so there is a button here, okay, which will help you to generate the sequence diagram. So I have already tried one, so this it's already there. So what happens is that it will generate the sequence diagram according to exactly what is the scenario that we have actually given there. Hope you're able to understand. So customer clicks on the document, so each and everything, so this is a boundary. Okay, so it's an entity, so everything is actually seen here. And you can also understand that the complete sequence of the steps is there are 13 or 14 steps there. So all the 13 steps are basically here as well. Okay, and one more thing which you have to understand is that so in the SAD class, in the previous SAD course, you would have actually learned about the messages, how you can actually, give on the messages. So when you click on the message, if you want to change a little bit here and there, okay, if you feel like the generated diagram is not up to the mark, no, you need some changes to be done onto the diagram, then what you could do is you can click on the arrow, you can change the messages if you want. And there are basically two different type of messages in a sequence diagram. You would have already known about it. One is a synchronous message and the other one is asynchronous. So when you see the synchronous message, its head will be darkened like this. Say if I'm just just for the sake of it, I'm just changing it into asynchronous. Okay, I'm just making it into asynchronous. So what happens is that arrowhead is a simple line head. Okay, so that is basically the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. So the major difference, the conceptual difference between synchronous and asynchronous is that, say for a synchronous message, the synchronous message will wait for the response message to come. Okay, it definitely need a response message. Okay, then only it will proceed with the next step. But in the case of the asynchronous message, it just keeps continuing. Okay, whenever the result is ready, okay, say I'm requesting whether the pin and the pin is what is that, the I'm entering the pin. So it could be a synchronous message because I need to verify and I need to get the result, then only I can proceed. Okay, maybe I have another set of items where this doesn't matter. So in that cases we can use the asynchronous message. So that means that I'm not waiting for the result to be or the response to be there. I just keep on continuing. Okay, so that is not going to affect the other actions which are happening in the loop, in the order. You're getting my point? So that's what is asynchronous message and synchronous message. And say if you want something as a synchronous sorry, the return, then if you click on the is return, what happens is that you could see that this has changed into a what, into a response message. So now this is a return message. You're getting my point? So if you want to make it as return, you can just click on the is return. Okay, so otherwise it will be a normal synchronous message as such, or asynchronous according to how what you have actually framed in. So these are certain things. So in this example, what they are telling is if you have a use case model, then you don't have to generate the sequence diagram from the scratch. Instead, what you could do, you can go to the I'm just closing this. You can go to the diagram. Okay, sorry, you can go to the model, and you can enter, you can make sure that all the various scenarios are added here. And if you want to delete some scenario, you can click on this and click on this button. And in order to generate the sequence diagram, I have clicked on this one and selected the sequence diagram. Okay, so if you want to create an activity diagram, you can click on the activity diagram here, activity diagram. This could be clicked. So this is how you will do. And one more concept which you have to understand in the sequence diagram is that you have something called alternate path. So this is something like, say if the pin is not verified, then you have to take another path. You have to, tell the customer or eject the card. So for that, you can actually add something called fragments. Okay, so you can add the fragments and you can create the substitute paths. So that is something which you have to understand. Okay, so here if you click on this one, you can create the sequence diagram. So the sequence diagram is created. Okay, so this is the sequence diagram which is created. So the fragment is basically here. So this fragment will help you to generate an alternate path. So if I give ALT, or say this is the if else, so I could drag and drop, say the customer, where is that, the customer checkouts for the controller. Say if I want to give an alternate path, I could say that if, okay, or this is the alternate path for this one, so I could just give alternate path, so that it will make sure, it will help the people to understand what is the alternate path. So this is also possible. So this already, say you, if you want to say form a loop here, you can do that. If you want to form an alternate path, you can do that. If you want to break, you can do that. So all these things are basically here. So most commonly we will use this a alt and the loop. Okay, these are the two things which we used to use very commonly. Okay, so this is something which I want to tell you regarding this sequence diagram. So for the exam, basically you can either create the use case model. So if I have already asked you to create the use case model, then this is an easier way to create it. Then you can slightly tweak it according to what you want. Or else creating the sequence diagram from the scratch will take a lot of time. Okay, so that is the only thing. But also make sure that, say if your use case diagram is use case model, in that if you are not giving the scenarios properly, then the diagram generated will also be not be correct. So you will have to tweak it accordingly. So this is something which I wanted to tell you. Okay, thank you.